Hi there. So I just thought I'd do a really quick video about what the title says. A lot of people are talking about it, so in general, so I thought I'd just kind of share a little bit of my thoughts. Um, I think there's a few things to, from what I gather, to remember as far as um, when we're talking about pronouns. And I'm going to try and do them just as they're in my head here um, without kind of following any notes. I'm just going to put some chapstick on too. One, maybe gender is actually a spectrum. Two, people say it as they see it. But sometimes people can be a bit confusing. There's somebody that I've seen on YouTube a few times, or no, I might not be trying to be, that I've seen on YouTube a few times that goes by a name that is not usually a name, actually, but it might be theirs. And I think maybe they've been kind of going through changes because I'd never noticed. This might have only watched a couple of their videos. It's like I think I always thought they looked female, but they certainly sound more, or male rather, but they certainly sound more female. Um, I think it's important to acknowledge someone as they are because we all appreciate validation and respect. At the same time, people are human; they will make mistakes sometimes. Um, and if they're older, and especially if they're in your family, they're used to you, how they're used to you, and they you know, may make mistakes. The other thing is, wow, I'm covering a lot in a short amount of time. I've heard some people say that that's an idea of just alternating him and her type language, um, and that maybe that more people are preferring that these days. I don't think nothing is good. I don't think I don't know. They can confuse a lot of people, and possibly even sometimes the people that use it. Perhaps, maybe not though. Um, I mean, obviously not in all cases, but um, an interesting realization I had the other day when somebody was telling me about someone was they did, and it was the person that actually had brought up that kind of technique. And I said, but maybe they would, and there it was very natural, actually. Like not that it, there it just made sense. THERE. It made sense to they. I mean, I'm talking about you know potentially more than one person. Right? Um, and that's where maybe it gets a bit confusing sometimes. But um, don't know how much I'm going to want to get into this topic, and it is maybe still a little hot button. But that doesn't mean I shouldn't say a little, I suppose. But I did say to this person that maybe, like this friend, that maybe sometimes they will prefer one being used in a certain context over another one being used. And the person who told her was actually her daughter, I believe, who is exploring. No, I don't believe it is her daughter, but well, that's how we know her now. Well, I haven't actually met her. I almost did in a video call recently, but with the two of them, but because they were multitasking on that particular day, and I was really stressed out. Um, but um, and so it comes from somebody actually, and I don't think most people that are in the community would think that's a terrible suggestion either. Um, now we did, I covered a lot in 4 minutes. Somebody just tuned in. Um, at the moment, I don't have a whole lot else to say. Let me just think for a moment, and the viewer left. You know, I don't know. I feel weird to make. I don't know. Like it's not necessarily a bad thing, but it's kind of not a bad thing either way. But I feel a little bit not sure what to feel about doing like content that's like too short. Um, I'll just say this. People can grow and learn and change. Um, the only person who truly knows um, somebody is themselves. And so, I think that the people should be open to perspectives and growing, like I say, but, um, you know, and if they're not, then asking themselves why and digging deeper. But otherwise, um, yeah. And so if and it's a journey, and it's an exploration thing. But if somebody feels that they know themselves to be a certain way or feel that they are, then I think we'd rather, support our friend, loved one, and people in general than see them unhappy. And I mean, it's not to say that it would completely fix, you know, someone's life to but I mean, I'm not even just only talking about gender. I mean, that's kind of the main thing here with this one. But and the dog's really nice over there. The chair, it's great. But yeah, it's e- I guess I'm just kind of feeling my energy level, and like I don't know, I'm getting to the point quicker. But it's one of those things that it varies, right? But yeah, at the moment, I don't know if there's anything else to say. Um, I don't want to. Yeah, yeah. I think we'll leave it at that for now. Um, it's an interesting topic, people to talk about from all walks of life. Um, and I'm curious about the conversation. But I mean, I want to be saying something. I can't. I mean, yeah, maybe somebody would tune in and they've seen the title and they'll have something they want to say right away. Other times, I just gotta laugh at how the dog's laying. Other times, um, it may be based on what's being said, and I've thought of this a few times too, and I thought of it earlier. Although you can always come back afterwards and that. But now the dog's looking at me. But some people, there might be a brief pause, and they appreciate that because they can write. Some people can multitask, and YouTube is really built for that. Oh my gosh, I wish I could pare it down a little bit. Like this, all the suggestions and everything. Not the window I'm in now, but one of the other ones. I started off with 3 tabs open this morning, and then YouTube just showed me all kinds of good stuff. And not just YouTube, but yeah. So basically, but um, some people they may want to say something to something that they hear, but then the rambling goes on, and that's just what's happening naturally and organically, and we have to be able to balance that somewhat in life because that's kind of the way you know things often happen. But at the same time, it might be like, never mind, I can't keep up with what I was starting to say and what you're saying now. That might be actually a suggestion to make, though, is then send what you've said thus far, and then wait for another opportunity to, or and come back to finish the thought, whatever it is. I'm not telling anybody what to do. I'm just making suggestions, and I think some of them I could also possibly utilize. Um, it's just when I'm thinking about people viewing, and I'm thinking you know what's how that could look. Also trying to be a bit more of my own ways of YouTubing, not just posting. It's interesting to think about. Um, so in love and kindness, hope everybody's having a great day, or doing well. And I'm really happy with the first video I did today. Um, I don't think it's got a whole lot to it, but it's about the impact that we all can have on each other, and how that's a choice, and things kind of involved in making that choice. If that sounds interesting to you, or something that you struggle with, feel free to check it out. There was a certain thing in mind when I said it. Don't necessarily need to mention what though, but yeah, I'm curious. And then yeah, I think this is the second, and even that one was almost an hour, but it's the second shorter one I've done today, but it feels right. So um, yeah. So anyway, take care. Thanks. And Feel free to make suggestions. Feel free, by the way, to make suggestions for future videos. Music, topics, things you want to hear me talk more about certain topics. And then when I'm ready, I'll come and do so.